Hi, we're going to be talking now about how we do lumbar range of motion using a goniometer. And this is something that I think a lot of people actually don't always teach correctly. So I want to make sure that we talk through this really quick. A lot of people say that the fulcrum is going to go down on the greater trochanter, but that's really how you measure hip range of motion, not lumbar spine. So what you need to do is find their iliac crest, and you're going to come around and palpate it, and I kind of cheated on Ann and I already drew a mark on there, and that's where your fulcrum's going to go. And then what you're going to do is your movement arm is going to go up straight to their axilla. So basically it's going to cut that person in half, front to back. And then the stationary arm, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and this is for flexion and extension, by the way. What you're going to do is find their ASIS and their PSIS, and then you need to divide it. So notice this is going straight up, but this guy is intersecting, it's bisecting that line. So notice how it's angled backwards a little bit. So when you do this, you need to make note of what this angle is. So right now, she's at 155. You're not going to be taking it straight from 180. So you're going to be, for her anyway, 150, go ahead and move it a little bit. She's going to start at actually 160. And then the other thing to think about is as she leans forward, her ASIS and PSIS are going to tilt, right? So it's not going to stay straight up. So as you do this, go ahead and bend for me. Notice these two bones are moving, 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 and so this guy needs to keep shifting with them. Go ahead and go all the way down. And as they tilt, so does this need to tilt. And so we line these back up, we get this on her crest, we kind of go in the middle, and then when she stops, go ahead and stand back up. Now she's at 145. So she was at 160, so that's 20 degrees. And then we have, hopefully you guys can see, so she was at 160, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 55 degrees of flexion, and normal is around 60, so she's really normal in her flexion. You would do the exact same thing in extension, so setting them up the exact same. You're going to find the center of their iliac crest, you're going to run this up the axilla, you're going to find her ASIS and PSIS and divide it, and then ask them to extend backwards as far as they can, and they can put their hands on the back of their spine as well. So yep, go ahead, you're good. And then lean back, and again, notice her ASIS and PSIS are tilting in the opposite direction now. Super uncomfortable, I know this. Okay, go ahead. And so when you're looking at those things, again, the degrees for extension are going to be less, a lot less than what we see for flexion. And for her, she really only went back about 20 degrees. So as you look at these two things, I think it's important to, one, know where your axis, also called your fulcrum, goes, and then your stationary arm goes in between these with your movement arm coming up. But really you need to find the ASIS and PSIS, dissect it, figure out where they're at on this, because they're not going to be at 180, so figure out where it is, and then you're going to have to do the math to figure out the difference between where they were when they were and their neutral position, and then where they are in the ending, either in flexion or extension.